Hold on.
He stands for truth. He stands for justice. He stands for what's right. This is the Alex Jones Show. Call Alex now, toll free, at 877-590-5525. Now live from Austin, Texas, here's Alex Jones.
As promised, I pulled up that CBS News report, one of many. DHS sets guidelines for possible swine flu quarantine. That's got the executive order 13,375 for forced inoculation, forced quarantine, for those of you living in denial out there. Also, I was mixing up two different issues of inflation and unemployment, but both those numbers are cooked. Depending on which brokerage firm you look at, and other groups that actually look at real inflation, real unemployment, the government numbers will tell you real unemployment's at 9.8%, and they'll tell you inflation's at 6%. But the private firms and folks out there say that inflation, depending on what you're looking at, but the overall average is over 15%, and unemployment is already over 20%. So there you have it. The point is they are manipulating those numbers. Now, the state of Michigan officially says they're at 12.5, Rhode Island 11.4, South Carolina 10.9, Oregon 10.9, California 10.6, North Carolina 10.3, Nevada 10.2. But the feds have those with an even lower unemployment. So the feds and the states don't even agree. Depression-era level unemployment was only over 20%, so we're now in depression level. And this whole carbon tax and this giant new federal power for every federal agency to, at their own will, write up new regulations with force of law to regulate all carbon, taxes on fireplaces, outdoor heating systems like space heaters or those butane or propane tank heaters that they have outside in the winter at restaurants, taxes, what kind of light bulbs, what kind of toilets, water footprint taxes, not just your carbon footprint. I'm going to go over that coming up because the House of Representatives passed this without letting the Congress read the bill. I mean, it just gets more and more incredible by the minute, so that is coming up. And then I want to go over the total takeover, the carbon takeover, the banking takeover, the water takeover, the police state takeover, the gun grab takeover, the attack on free speech, that takeover that's happening. The House has passed the hate crimes bill and slipped in similar language to the Cyberbullying Act, saying if the government decides what a talk show host or somebody on the internet says might have hurt someone's feelings or encouraged someone to carry out violence, then you are held responsible. Thought crime, into the First Amendment. It's passed the House. Folks, it's all happening. They got bills to outright ban almost every gun out there. Introduced, racing through the House. They got bills for the federal government to give all its power over to the private Federal Reserve to control anything that, quote, affects the economy, from a restaurant to a car dealership. It's all happening. I am speechless. And then the public's going through this like it's a dream, like it's not happening, or like the government's going to fix it and make it all go away. No, offshore corporations are going to suck us dry. All right, let's go to a bunch of calls quickly. Make your point. I'm moving to the next person because I got to get into all this, but I also want to hear from you. George in Texas, you're on the air. Welcome.
How you doing, Alex?
Good, sir. You're on the air.
Yeah, no king but King Jesus.
Well, that's hate crime right there, but go ahead.
Yes. You know, the thing is, I'm ready to start a little project because, you know, with the bankers, with the Federal Reserve System and the IRS, I mean, we pretty much rattled those institutions, but I'm going after the U.S. Senate because of the 17th Amendment, because I really see them as the gatekeepers for the bankers.
That's right. Until in 1913, the private IRS took over, the private Federal Reserve took over, the IRS collects for them, and before the state legislatures would vote and appoint the senator, so the senator was a creature of the state. And that's another huge reversal of liberty. We need to repeal the 17th Amendment. Very well said.
Well, I really think we got to pressure our legislatures to pressure our U.S. senators, either by grand juries or recalling them, because these U.S. senators are entrenched in...
They are openly bought and paid for by offshore banks. Openly paid for. They've had the head Democratic senator and the head Democratic congressman have openly said in Politico and ABC News that the foreign banks, quote, rule America. Banks, in fact, Google that. I want to, and I want you to come on there with the headline, Jaron. Top Democrats say banks rule America. I know there's a Politico, ABC News, and a bunch of others, but I want the people to hear it. I'm not just saying this. There's been a corporate coup d'etat. Northcom openly says they're setting up martial law. The head of the Naval War College, Thomas Barnett, goes on C-SPAN and says the military works for Wall Street. We've been conquered. They want your private property. Brace for a bunch of Madoff-type SNL scammers to take everything you got backed up with paramilitary forces that are brainwashed. Heaven help us. The cops are ready to eat their own guts and ask for seconds. They're paramilitary. They're ready to wage war on us. They're no longer peace officers. We're getting hit and hit hard. They're not going to stop. This is only the beginning. And the average cop isn't bad. They're part of a sicko system. The whole country's going to hell. The public's a bunch of jellyfish. Just heaven help us. Cops, you're basically cutting off your own nose to spite your face. You need to understand you're part of tyranny. So are all you bureaucrats. But people calling, going, I don't have a choice. It's the only job I got. I'm going to tell you about it later. Let's go to more calls. Let's talk to Paul in Australia. Paul in Australia, you're on the air. Then Garrett and others. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Alex. How you doing, mate?
Good. You've got the climate cops there as well. They're hitting you, and they already took your guns.
Oh, it's true. And the guy from Tasmania, it shot up just a couple of people, and it's like, oh, well, we're going to take everybody's gun now for Australia.
And they're taking your private property and carbon taxing you, and how do you like it?
Not too well. Not too well.
What's on your mind today from the land down under?
Yes, Alex. I was wondering about the color. It's a little bit old, but the Columbine shooting. I've been trying to find a documentary, and I can't recall if you've ever made one. I was doing a Wikipedia search on you, and I couldn't find a Columbine documentary.
I haven't made a film on Columbine, but I have a short blurb in my film Road to Tyranny. The Rocky Mountain Daily News, the Denver Post reported that police shot at least 3 of the children inside. All the witnesses said there were 4 men in black uniforms. They're planting, 126 giant propane bombs. The school was more than half empty. Harris and Kleinbold's parents both worked for secret projects in Black Ops. When they showed up at the school, bombs were already detonating. It was a total Black Op inside job. Just like the Russians have been caught. They'll go in and shoot a bunch of people in the building. The special forces pull out the back. Special forces out front fire into the building. And then all the kids know is men in black uniforms were there shooting them. Then that's used as a way to crack down on Chechnya in that case. I mean, the theater siege in Moscow was staged as well. This is how they do it.
It's like I watched you for the first time ever, the Waco documentary you made.
Yes,
Waco, Texas.
Yes, Delta Force slaughtering everybody. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, and it reminds me exactly what just happened. I mean, not just what happened, but like in Columbine. It seems like the exact same type of people.
Yeah, the feds go in and shoot and kill everybody on video, on FLIR, shooting everybody as they try to run, tanks running over people's bodies, and they tell the slaves on TV that they all killed themselves.
Exactly. Oh, thank you very much.
By the way, it came out in Congress. The Delta Force admits they went in and slaughtered everybody.
My goodness.
Yeah, the head of the Army right now, Shoemaker, commanded it. He was the head at Fort Hood at the time.
Oh, man. Well, it's a wicked world.
Well, I mean, if they're going to kill all those kids, they might as well just admit it. Anything else going on from Australia?
Nah, that's a lot. Thank you, Alex.
Hey, I hear folks are starting to wake up to the tyranny in Australia.
Yes, they are, each and every day.
Well done. Keep it up. We don't have a choice. All we can do is stand up and fight. You know, as serious and as crazy as things are, the globalists can steer and manipulate society, and they can dominate it, but they can't control everything. It's like whack-a-mole. You ever played that game at the arcade where little moles pop up and you got the big mallet trying to knock them down? Well, as we stand up and speak out and say no to their tyranny, it's like millions of moles popping up. They can't get us all. And hey, we're about to audit the Fed. The Fed panicked this week and said the whole country will shut down and they'll go bankrupt if we audit them because they admittedly have stolen trillions. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more calls from around the country and the world, and I'll break down the total globalist takeover. Stay with us.